Good afternoon. Thanks so much for tuning in to 12 News at Noon. I'm Tracy Kennick. We start with some breaking news for you this afternoon. Next week, on August the 11th, Jefferson County commissioners are expected to discuss details about selling Ford Park. That would include the entire complex except for the visitor center. We have calls into Jefferson County Judge Jeff Brannick to learn more. The information just coming to us from the Commissioner's Court agenda and supporting documents. This is a story we, of course, will be following throughout the day. Stay with 12 News on air and online for developments here. This afternoon, people are still cleaning up after last night's round of storms. A family in Beaumont's West End had a tree come crashing right through their home. They're okay, but it was a close call. Entergy crews are out this afternoon working to restore power. And looking at the Entergy map, a lot of people are still without power this afternoon. Looks like over 3,000 people in Jefferson County still without the lights on. And taking a look outside right now this afternoon, looks like it's kind of cloudy, but not too bad out there. No rain in sight, at least. Will we see another round of bad weather, though? For our update on the forecast, let's go to Jeff in our Storm Tracker Center. Hey, Jeff.
Hey there. Yeah, we're already seeing some rain. We've been seeing some rain, especially western sections of Jefferson County this morning down around the Winnie area. They picked up about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. And that's where most of it's been kind of, we've been dealing with the rain for this morning. You can see right there on I-10, right to the north and east of Winnie, and then some heavier downpours down in the least populated areas of Jefferson County down there towards the marshlands in the southwestern corner of the state. But do see some rain. The rain stretches all the way up to Highway 90 in between, say, China and Nome, probably right close to Nome there. Some heavier rains there as well. These are all sliding pretty slowly off towards the south. We'll see more scattered showers through the afternoon, about a 30-40% coverage, so they won't be as widespread as yesterday, and I don't think they'll be as strong as yesterday's storms. Looks like as we head towards the weekend, rain chances are coming down. We'll check your 7-day forecast in just a little bit.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Well, if Colorado State University is right, last night's bad weather could be a preview of what's to come. A top hurricane forecaster calling for more tropical storms and hurricanes as he updates the hurricane outlook for this year. And as we enter the peak of hurricane season, CSU is now tweaking that forecast, calling for 24 named storms. That's nearly double the average of those storms. They're expecting 12 hurricanes. We've already had 11 storms with 2 hurricanes this season. Now to our continuing coronavirus coverage. Numbers dropped across the board in Texas yesterday, but still 235 more Texans lost their lives to the virus on Wednesday. The state also reported 8,706 new cases. That is less than Tuesday, but still above the 7-day weekly average. And taking a look at the big board locally, things got a bit better. We saw 235 new cases, roughly half of what we saw on Tuesday. Of those new cases, only 49 were from Jefferson County. The bulk, 119 cases, coming from Orange County. There were also 2 new deaths in our area on Wednesday. Taking a closer look at the numbers now coming out of Orange County, where there appears to be a sudden spike in cases. Judge John Gauthier says those numbers reflect positive cases over the last several days. He says the health department does not work on weekends, so there's a delay when numbers are reported to the state. John Gauthier also says that Orange County has averaged about 80 to 100 new cases a day. We asked him where the bulk of those cases are located.
Down is because they all work the same activity, the same church. A lot of church activity happens right now and has been, because churches don't fall under the same guidelines. They're just under safe distancing guidelines, according to the state. And we see a lot of outbreaks in churches.
The judge says Orange County is bracing for another spike. He's predicting the numbers will rise again as students head back to class. And the concern about the role churches play in the spread of the coronavirus continues in Jefferson County. A pastor of a prominent Nederland church and his wife both had to be tested for the virus. Pastor Kevin Kicker McWilliams of 7th Street Baptist Church in Nederland posting this information on Facebook saying he's feeling fine, but his wife is feeling ill and her doctor has placed her on medication. The 2 continue to wait for their results.
No one is beyond God's reach of love. No matter what your circumstances, no matter if we've got COVID-19, we are not beyond God's reach of love. And yes, of course, I'm going to say it again, like I say it often. God's got this.
McWilliams says the church has to postpone an event tomorrow, and he will be posting updates on the church's Facebook page. If you need to be tested for the virus, here are some options for you. The Orange County Expo Center on FM 1442 in Orange is open. Testing runs until 4 this afternoon. And in Port Arthur, the Carl Parker Center on the campus of Lamar State College, Port Arthur, is also open. It's free. You just have to walk up. No registration is required. Testing will wrap up at 4 this afternoon or when testing supplies run out. Buna ISD preparing for the school year by adding a special device that checks temperatures of the students. They'll walk up to it each morning before heading to class. Green will mean they're in the clear, yellow that they're approaching a fever, and red means they have a fever. Those showing a fever will then be isolated in a separate classroom away from other students and staff while their parents are contacted.
Well, it's just an added layer of protection. Number one, we ask all parents to self-screen the child. And what that looks like is, are they running fever? Do they look sick?
And he says he highly recommends parents do not send their kids to school if they are showing any symptoms at all. Students can expect to get checked in the mornings and during lunch. One Southeast Texas school district is back in class, and across the U.S., dozens of schools have reopened. What did they experience? NBC's Sam Brock tells us why one school district is facing criticism after hundreds were exposed to the virus.
In the very first week of school, a COVID wake-up call in Georgia. The Cherokee County School District revealing 4 schools have been impacted by the virus in 72 hours. 3 students from 1st to 8th grade all testing positive after attending class Monday, and a kindergarten teacher exhibiting symptoms after school and not returning Tuesday. The district telling NBC News they're quarantining those exposed, contact tracing, and deep cleaning classrooms. As parents like Christy Worsham say conditions were never right for reopening.
Although I feel like they are following the guidelines that they set forth, I don't feel like those guidelines are strict enough.
Worsham protesting policies like students not required to wear masks, evidenced by snapshots in school hallways. Georgia's early experiences contributing to a larger conversation. In Chicago, this mother of 3, frustrated.
I would have hoped that we could have come up with some good solutions to get some form of in-person to start the school year.
The city deciding its 400,000 students will return strictly with online learning for now, a plan opposed by the president.
Parents want the schools open. We want them open. We want them open safely. We're going to practice very strong hygiene.
But in Mississippi, even with masks and classroom seats spaced apart, an outbreak almost right away.
So they have 6 total students who've exposed additional folks within the school system and over 100 students quarantined.
And Florida educators suing the state.
This is something that we've got to get our hands around, or we're going to have a catastrophic situations that we cannot control.
The Sunshine State requiring schools to offer in-person learning options starting Monday.
What is your gravest concern about heading back to school right now?
This is life or death. People are going to die. People are going to die in our schools, and we can do something about it.
Later today, here in Miami, a circuit court judge will begin proceedings on a possible injunction. The governor here of Florida, Ron DeSantis, has always said from the beginning that parents and families have the option of keeping their kids home in that hybrid model. But the Florida Educators Association counters that does not deal with teachers and staff and custodians who don't have that option and will have to be balancing their health with their jobs. In Miami, Sam Brock, NBC News.
Troubling numbers now that paint a picture of struggling Americans. According to payroll company ADP, private payrolls increased by just 167,000 in July. That means employers hired fewer people than economists had expected. Economists predicted to see a payroll increase of 1 million or more. It's also a tumble from the more than 4 million jobs created back in June. Employers are slow to hire, making Americans slow to get back to work. Millions of families are depending on a second round of stimulus checks for the government to make ends meet. Tracy Potts explains the latest holdup preventing you from getting that money.
Today's new weekly jobless claims total almost 1.2 million nationwide, less than expected, as a plan takes shape on Capitol Hill to restore federal unemployment payments.
I feel optimistic that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. but how long that tunnel is remains to be seen.
The plan, $400 a week, down from $600, and a ban on evictions till the end of the year. $10 billion for the Postal Service to help with mail ballots, but nothing so far on money for schools, state and local governments, or food.
By Friday, if we haven't made significant progress and we're just too far apart, the president's prepared to take executive action.
There's frustration on both sides.
We are not walking away.
If we can't come up with a good deal, then unfortunately we'd have to walk.
Republicans worried about the price tag. It's all borrowed money.
We're a long way apart, and we'll see.
President Trump stirring up controversy.
We want our schools open. It's going away. No, it'll go away.
With false claims
you look at children
that children are, quote, almost immune from coronavirus. Facebook pulled his post. Twitter pulled a similar post from his campaign.
We're also watching the coronavirus numbers. The infection rate's down nationwide 11%, but the actual numbers of cases and deaths continues to grow. Tracy Potts, NBC News.